How many kinds of debt? How many kinds of debt? Hello? You guys know? Darren said that there's a good debt, which must mean there's also a what? Bad debt. What is that? It's debt that costs you. So it's usually consumer. It's bad because it requires something from you that can't make money. It's generally a liability. A good debt, however, what? It produces money. Let me give you an extreme example. Down in Costa Rica, I have a buddy right now who's selling a factory. It's been in business for about 45 years. The factory is selling for $1 million, and he's willing to sell or finance it. All you need is $100,000 down, and he'll actually assume the mortgage and let you make payments. After you put your $100,000 down, the payments are going to be $20,000 a month. You will have $900,000 of debt, and it will take 15 years before it's paid off with this payment. Is everyone with me so far? So if I do this, I'm taking on almost $1 million of debt. And some people are trained to look at that and think what? Well, stop being so smart. I just want to talk about the feeling first, because we sometimes confuse this with this. We say, wait a second, this good debt must produce the stress and fear of bad debt. Because, by the way, who wants to be $900,000 more in debt? Depends. I know, someone's like, it depends. This factory for the last 45 years has been producing a net profit of $50,000 a month. Which means, after all expenses, how much money is going to be left over? I put $100,000 down. I'm pulling in $50,000 a month. I pay my 20. What's left over? $30,000. And guys, it is a consistent track record. So now your income has gone up by how much a year? $360,000, $30,000 a month, right? You put up $100,000, you're now getting $360,000 a year. So you're making your money back how many times? 3.5. Is there risk? What's the risk? The factory closes. What it produces is no longer needed in the world. Who cares? It had a 45-year track record. So my question is, how should you feel about this? Let's assume that you did your research, you like the product, and there's reason to believe that the product is going to stay in force for decades to come. How are you feeling about this? Good or bad? Someone calls it a no-brainer. I like good debt. It does not produce stress for me, and it does not produce fear. If you have a debt and it produces stress and fear, then one of two things is happening. One, it's either a good debt on paper, but in reality it's performing as more of a bad debt and it's a headache, in which case an investment that should be an asset that is actually going in the wrong direction, is it a good debt or a bad debt? It was designed to be a good debt, it's actually a bad debt. Either that's happening or the other thing is happening, which is years of training that just says, I can't get over it. I get it logically. It's good, it's bad. All debt is bad. Bad, 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 bad. 4-letter word, can't get over it. Stress, anxiety, whether good or bad debt. Which of the two is it? First option or the second option? Is it the investment itself isn't working, or is it more of a mindset? It's more of a mindset. So for me, I try to go into as much new debt as I can every month. If I could be $1 billion in debt by the snap of a finger right now, with the kind of debt I'm accustomed to, I would do it right now. And I would sleep better at night, and I would feel more relief, and I would be more excited about my future for it. Because it's not remotely related. It's not on the spectrum. It's opposite this. So this 4-letter word debt gets a bad rap. This one really is bad. This one you want as much as you can have and should not produce stress and anxiety. The only thing that might produce stress and anxiety comes really down to a tolerance of risk. And if you risk not, then you might not get a what? You might not get a reward. By the way, for anyone to financially do well in life beyond the standard, you have to take risks. And you need to learn that risk is also not a 4-letter word like debt that is bad. Risk, it's actually good. Let me qualify that. Society says, go to college, get good grades, have a job, put money in a 401k IRA, and save, 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 save. How many of you have been on that path or have done some of that? If you're doing an amazing job at it, and it's now been 30 years, how much do people typically accumulate on average? If you're an average human being, $55,000. If you have been more chief level and you've had a good career, I've seen people with $200,000. I've seen people with $500,000. And they're screwed because what they did was the no risk, low risk option. I put my money in the 401k, everyone said that was safe. I put my money in the IRA, everyone said that was safe. I did the safest choices. Guess what? It is a safe choice, but is the volume enough to annuitize a payment that you can live on? If you can't, your plan sucks. And what you considered low risk is actually what? We think higher ROI means higher risk. You have to find a way to get into double-digit ROI. If you can't, unless you're making $500,000 or more a year and saving 50% of it, there's no way for you in a 20 or 30-year working career to actually create what you need. So I just bring that up as a side note because risk is a funny word, like debt is a funny word. Society has created incredible meaning about these words, and if you follow Dave Ramsey's advice, you will have no debt. You'll also have no future.